Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Slim, aka Mr. Different of TBOsounds.com, and we're back with another video. Today, I'm gonna show you guys how I master my beats, because a lot of people ask me, yo Slim, that mix bus, what is it? Do a mixing, do a mastering video. Well, I decided, you know what, it's late at night, it's like 5 in the morning. Actually, it's like 6 in the morning, early start. And I decided, hell, I'm gonna go ahead and make you guys a how to master your beats video. So I'm gonna show you how to get that, pretty much a simple way of getting that radio ready knock, or even not that, just a louder mix. So, you know, if your beats sound louder, usually artists and people think your beat sounds better, even though it may not be. But, you know, it will help you get that volume and help you get that level. So I'm gonna show you my way of mastering. Like I said, this is not no professional way of mastering. This is just what I've been doing all my life and what got me the results that I get. And, you know, a lot of you guys like my results, so hey, I'm gonna show you guys how to get it. So first off, I want to stress that, you know, you can't have a good master unless you have a good mix. So for example, I have both the unmastered version of the beat and I had the master version of the beat. This is one of the newer beats that I made. I'm probably gonna be working on the freaking beat breakdown video rather than this, because, you know, that's how I do. But anyway, basically you got to have a good mix in order to get a good master. So you gotta have appropriate levels, and I'll show you, know, what levels to try to aim for. And also I'm making a video on how to mix and show you how to get those appropriate levels. So I'm just gonna play the beat and watch my little my metering over here, and watch the level and watch the max volume of this beat, and you will see, and my switch between both of them, so you can see what kind of levels you should aim for. And I'll make sure all my effects are off on this one. Yeah, the effects are off, and I'll tell you. Okay, here we go. So let's play it.
This is different.
So I don't know if you saw it, but if you paid attention, that the unmastered version peaked right under about -12 dB, which is a very good, healthy signal. Like, you want to try to aim between -6 to -12 and -6 dB if possible. I say try to stay under -12 when mixing. That way, when you master, you can really push it and get it, you know, cranking all the way up there. Even so, the master version didn't really go over -12 dB, -6 dB, but we want to make sure that you look at the RMS level. That means the root mean squared, which means the average level over time. The peak level is just how loud it gets in certain peak points. That's one that you don't pay attention to that, but you want to pay attention more to the RMS. Now, if you don't have the Brainworks meter, which I highly recommend getting, it's a very good plugin by Plugin Alliance and Brainworks. It's amazing. If you don't have that, there is free options out there. There is this one called the K meter. The only problem with this one I don't like is it's free for one, but it does, like, as you can tell, my speech is a little off, but it does introduce some latency. And like when you play the beat, it kind of, turn it off. It kind of like pauses the beat before it plays. But it is a free plugin, so if you're just using it for mixing purposes, it's perfect. You have your K scale, which I highly recommend using. I use K12 all the time because, and I'll go more into detail about the K metering, but I'm not here. But it has K scale, it has your root mean square, which means your RMS. It shows your peaks. It shows your peak, your true peak, and also overs, which is really good to know if your beat is going over 0 dB, especially if you're trying to put on iTunes or anything like that. You want to make sure you have no overs when doing that. So this is a very good plugin. I will link you in the description below, and I'll make a video that goes more in detail about these two plugins in a later video, but not this one. But anyway, the main thing is to kind of keep your beat under -12 dB. That's the first thing. So as you see, if I play it again, you watch it be under -12 dB. and it's under -12 dB at the loudest part of the beat. that's what. So you wherever the loudest part of the beat, you want to make sure the loudest part of your beat does not go over -12 dB. And that's just a rule of thumb that I go by. You don't have, just try to aim between -12 between -18 and -12. That's the sweet spot of mixing. Trust me, if you can aim between that, when you master the beat, it's gonna be loud, proud, and punchy, and not dull and kind of crazy. Even this mix, this is kind of chopping off just a little bit because I'm doing some extreme limiting, but I'll show you why I did that in just a second. So now back to my mastering chain. I would talk about all these plugins. Once again, I'm just gonna show you the before and after so you can hear it one more time, and then I will go into each plugin and why I use these plugins. So here we go. As you hear, it is really loud, and that's what we want. That's what we want, Slim. We want that thing to be loud. So, okay, so basically, I'm gonna show you my mastering chain. So it's gonna get kind of loud. So I'm gonna mute what I don't need right now. Now, one thing about my mastering chain is it switches up and it evolves all the time. I don't use the same mastering chain all the time, but I have noticed that there are usually 3 to 4 plugins that I always use no matter how I master, and I use them for a specific reason. So I'm just gonna go over those, and I'll probably sprinkle in my other processes just in case if I want some extra flavor of some sort, and I'll explain those to you. So first off, once you have a good mix, you get that -12 dB good mix, the first thing I like to do with my mastering is a bus compressor. Now, any bus compressor will work. This is just my favorite one. It's by Slate Digital. It's called the FG Gray. Slate Digital is basically a SSL bus compressor emulation. Now, if you have the SSL compressor, which I do have, but I wish I didn't spend my money on it, but Waze had a deal, so why not? That's your Black Friday deal. Get on it. It's a good compressor. Like I said, it's a bus compressor. A lot of people don't understand bus compression, but basically what bus compression is doing is basically gluing your mix together and just giving it a little, like pretty much taking your overall beat and just kind of squeezing it just a little bit together to make it sound more cohesive. Make sure all the sounds sound tightly knit and sound like they are meant to be in the same space. Now, like I said, if you don't know what bus compression is, you don't fully understand it, you can't really hear the difference because it's very subtle. I recommend just not even doing it. Just just don't do it. Don't waste your time with it. But if you can kind of hear it, then I definitely would, recommend it because it does help. Now, the way this was set up, I like the way this is set up because basically I'll show you the setup and I'll play you the before and after. Basically you have attack, release, threshold, ratio, which is basically any compressor. So you can use any compressor, do this. So you don't have to have a special bus compressor. Any compressor would do. This one has a high pass filter. So anything below the set number right here will not be compressed, which is really good feature if your bus compressor have. If it don't have that, you'll pretty much be compressing everything, which I don't like to compress none of my lows. So I usually jack it all the way up to like 150. So anything below 150 hertz will not be compressed. So that means my kick drum and my bass will not be compressed, and it'll still be able to be punchy and loud, as you'll hear. Your makeup gain is basically, how much gain reduction you're doing. That's how much makeup you can do. And then this one has a mix knob, which I love because one thing about me, when I master, I like to do a little bit of mastering here and there, and I like to bring my mix down because I want it to be very transparent. I don't want it to be a noticeable effect. I want it to be very transparent over time. So my attack is usually set all the way slow, so it's fast to go. Release, if you don't have an auto button, which I highly recommend using SSL compressors or the SSL bus compressor, any SSL compressor emulator, set it to auto because auto is that magic function right there. It works. But if you don't have an auto function, set your release to the faster it'll go. But me, it's set to auto because auto is where it's at. Move, man. There you go. Threshold, I usually bring my threshold up until I'm getting about 2 dB to 3 dB of gain reduction. It's all up to you. You can get more. Like I know rock mixes usually have like 4 to 5 dB of bus compression. So it just depends on what you're doing. The ratio, I usually set my ratio between 2 to 1 to 2 to 0 to about 2 to 5 ratio. You can go high as 3 or 4. I've seen people go up to 4. It just depends on your taste. Like I say, I'm going for more of a gentle compression, not really a high one. Makeup gain, I'm getting 2 dB gain reduction, so I boost it up 2 dB. And then my mix is at 70% because, like I said, I don't want it to be super apparent. You know, so I want it to be a transparent type of compression. So if I press play now, you will hear the transparency. You'll hear the before and after. So we'll just go before and after. So. Hold on 1 second. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Had to go handle some daddy duties. So with that being said, back to this once again. Where did we off at? That's right, before and after. As you hear, I'm gonna play it one more time. I don't remember if I let you guys hear, but. As you hear, like I said, it's a very subtle effect. It just kind of glue it together, kind of tightens the mix up a little bit, brings it up a little bit, makes it a little bit more punchier. And that's pretty much what it does. It's not to be overused. Like I said, that's why I brought down the mix. If you don't have a mix wet dry knob, remember you can always use this button right here. But I mean, it's not as good as having it actually built into the compressor. But yeah, that's why I use bus compression, because it just glues things together and make things sound a little bit better. In the end, like I said, it's very subtle, so make sure you listen to this on good headphones or speakers. Next up, I always use the isotope imager. Now, why I use this? A lot of people ask me, like, what's that for? So I don't understand that. Basically, what this does is it lets you control the width of different frequencies. If you don't have this one, I know they have like Waves make one, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that. But I like this one because it's made by Isotope. Isotope are them guys. They make good stuff. I mean, Isotope they just really, really good. And I like this one because it's really good. It allows you to pick up the 4 bands. Like I said, you know, your lows, your low mids, your mids, and your highs. Basically what I always do, the main thing about this, anything below 200 hertz is usually where the mono frequency is. I like to bring all the way down -0, 100. That is pretty much forcing it to mono. I have to bring everything else down a little bit into mono, and it kind of just gives us a little width or some stereo separation in the upper regions up here. So yeah, that's all I really do with this. It's not really a huge thing, but like I said, it's just making sure that all my mono content is mono and all my stereo content is stereo. So you know, it has a learn function in this one where you can it learns where, but I like to just set anything below 200 and force it to mono because it just sounds good. So let's just play it before and after so you guys can hear. So let's bypass it. Like I said, not gonna be a huge thing. Like I said, that's all I'm doing right here. I usually use this on every mix I do. So like I said, this is one of them go-tos and I have to have in order to, you know, master with. So, you know, Isotope imager. Like I said, there's a bunch of them out there. If you guys can afford this one, I know there's a way to get a free version of it, then whatever. Another process that I always do is EQ. Now I'm using the Eosis Air EQ. Now this is a freaking dope ass EQ. I own the De-esser as well by Eosis, which is amazing, which is, you know, for vocals, which is for vocals, of course, but you know, that's just for vocals. But you know, I'm mad at the everything bundle didn't come with this, so I had to buy it myself. Definitely is a great EQ. This is probably one of the, I guess, most musical EQs out there. It's not like I say, when I say musical, I mean the way you can, you know, you can bend the way it boosts and cuts, it sounds good regardless of how much you boost or cut. And I like that because, you know, it just sounds good. Like I said, I love my Fab filter. I love my Pro EQ too. But this one, for mastering purposes, I like to use this for mastering because it has just a certain sound. But you can definitely use any EQ, doesn't matter. But anyway, what I'm doing is basically cutting the low lows, which is anything below 20 hertz, as you can see right here. 20 hertz. 20 hertz on a low cut and 20K in a high cut. And that's all I'm doing. And what that's doing is because anything below 20 hertz, you really can't hear. Now, yes, people will argue with me and say, but that's movement, man. That's like energy. That's where you feel all that low rumble. Still, you can't hear it. So if you actually clean it up, it actually makes your mix sound a lot cleaner than it actually is. So I highly would suggest, just go ahead and cut it, because like I said, it will help you and benefit you in your mix, because it will clean it up. Next, I like to cut the highs, the super highs, unless you're a fucking dog, which I doubt a lot of you guys are fucking dogs. And even right here has a red line, 'cause it's pretty much saying anything above that you won't technically hear. You cut that as well, just to kind of, clean the top end up as well. And like I said, when you do this, it does clean it up. I'm gonna show you before and after. Like I said, it's best to listen on good headphones or speakers so you can hear the subtle differences, but it definitely does, it definitely does help out. Like I said, the thing about all these things I'm doing is, it's little bitty choices over collective time. So basically, I'm doing little bitty cuts and boosts and compression here and there to ultimately get me a bigger sound at the end. So let's just play before and after so you can hear. So let's go ahead, and you don't have a salt mute button, so I gotta do it this way. All right, play. Like I said, if you don't have really good speakers or really good headphones, you probably won't hear the changes, and that's good. When mastering, you don't want to hear your choices. You want to make it very subtle and very kind of transparent. So yeah, it just like I said, it just cleans up that low end and top end. Like I said, if you can't hear it, don't worry about it. It doesn't mean you suck. It just means, that it's doing its job well. If you can hear it, you will hear the benefits that it does. And it does just clean it up just a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. Like I said, you use any EQ you want, Fab Filter, Pro EQ 2. I don't care. Just if it has a high cut and a low cut, I usually use it. But like I said, you don't have to do this. This is something I choose to do for all my mixes. And last but not least is a limiter. Now I have God knows how many limiters. I have Fab Filter. I have the Pro L. I have the Pro L by Fab Filter. I have the FGX by Slate Digital. I have the Maximizer, which I'm gonna show you in this instance. I have the L2 by Waves. I have a ton of limiters, and each limiter sounds different and does things in different ways. Now, one thing about limiters is they all have their function. They all have their things. I am a very big fan of, using a certain limiter for a certain source, depending on it. Every limiter is different. I might grab Pro L. I might grab FGX. I might grab Maximizer. I might grab L2. It just depends on the mix and what I'm going for. Like I said, if I'm doing more song stuff, I might get 2 different limiters. If I'm doing beats, I usually gravitate to one limiter that's quick and easy to use to get up and ready. So the limiter does not matter. So you don't need to have the ozone maximizer for this example, but you can use the same techniques I'm gonna show you. So basically what I do is I usually set to transparent mode, which is basically like a kind of a slow release or attack, a slow attack, slow release, slow attack type of deal. Well, fast attack, slow release, a slow attack, fast release type of deal, something like that. I don't fucking know. I gotta read the manual. But yeah, it makes it just makes it to where the compressor is not clamping down so fast. So basically, it has a slower attack when you bring it up to transparent, because it's very gently compressing. Usually set to the IRC 4 mode. IRC 2 mode works great in my opinion. That's probably one of my second favorite modes to use, but this mode is just amazing. It's just algorithms and whatever. If you don't have true peak on your limiter, don't worry. True peak just really catches them over, so make sure you don't over. But the main thing is what I said right here, the ceiling and threshold. Those are 2 main things that you need to look out for. Now, you probably will ask yourself why you got set to -1 dB. The reason is because if I'm bouncing it down to MP3, which is most time what I'm bouncing it down to, you still have overs. Like the industry standard is like 0.3. I think -0.3 is the industry standard. But if it's that close to 0, you'll still have some peaks that can go past it and clip past 0. And if you're trying to put your beat on or your song on iTunes, iTunes will not allow any overs, none whatsoever. And I love this because it actually tells you if you have overs. Like, it'll change the overs if you have any. So any overs it will not allow. So if you bring it down to like negative, 0.1, you usually don't have no overs. Now the threshold is basically the taste. I try to get my RMS to about -6. That's usually the sweet spot. If you want to have a louder mix, you can definitely push it higher, but do know that you'll start squashing your beat at that point. You start adding in distortion and artifacting and stuff like that nature. So do be careful. Try to aim for like -6 RMS. It even tell you right here the RMS as well. So, just aim for that. So I'll just play you, I'll just bring my threshold up and bring it down so you can see yourself how it goes. So here we go.
This is different. This is different.
And yeah, there you go. I could push a little bit harder, but I felt like if I push any harder, I start distorting more and just start looking all crazy. But, that's how you get this kind of, you can tell the waveform. See how in this part it's clearly louder. Right here is louder. And also if you look really closely, you can see it's starting to chop off some of them peaks because the limiter, which is all good, it doesn't really hurt much because as long as you don't have everything squashed like that, have like sausage looking, use your sausage fattener, you're pretty much good. That's pretty much my all the time master chain. Now, if I'm feeling like, wanting some different vibes and stuff like that, one thing I might do is I might add some like tape saturation at a tape saturation plugin, just depending on how I feel. That just kind of gives it a little bit more, bottom end. I did add it to this one in the original mix, but it didn't sound good, so I took it off. Another thing I might add is, depending on what it is, I might add a exciter plugin. So my favorite exciter is this one. It's called Revival by Slate Digital. It's actually a free plugin. So if you want it, you can actually get this right here for free on his website. It's absolutely free, no strings attached. Just go to his website, sign up for it. I think if you have an iLock, you get this absolutely free. So anybody has an iLock, yeah. Or you can make an iLock account and get this for free. Basically what this does is just bring up the lows or bring up the highs. Like I said, if I'm using more of a song type of deal, I use that. Not all the time. Some other things that I usually do, distortion. Distortion can be a great thing to saturate it with. There's so many things I do, beyond just these three, just in case. But most time I know for a fact when I master my beats, I always use these 4. I use bus compression, imager, a little EQ, and a limiter. That's usually my chain right there. You will see this on every beat, every video I make. You will always see these plugins. You might see 1 or 2 other plugins, depending on how I'm feeling that day. If I'm not feeling that crazy, that's it. So yeah, that's my mixing chain, my mastering chain right there. Like I said, nothing special, nothing crazy. It's not gonna make your mixes better type of thing. It is, if your mix is good to begin with, this will enhance it and get you that loudness that you're looking for. But remember, the mix has to be good. So aim for that -12 dB overall mix at the loudest point. And then, use these very subtly. Use a little bus compression, use a little imaging if you got it, EQ, and then limiter. Mainly, you don't even need the imager. You just compress, EQ, and limit it, and you're pretty much good. And if you're even lazier, you can EQ and limit it. But if you're even lazier, you can just fucking limit it and make it loud as shit. So it's up to you, man. It's up to you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. A lot of you guys ask me what is on my bus compressor, my mix bus all the time, and how I master my beats. And there you go. And that's how I get these simple results right here. Loud, punchy, still dynamic beats without being too squashed and distorted. So that being said, hope you guys enjoy it. Like always, And, you know, hope you learned something. You know who it is. It is your boy Slim, aka Mr. Different, not motivated by the money, but the like, comment, subscribe, and views. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoy. Leave your comments in the description below, and I'm happy to get back to you guys. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, everybody.